Good evening. Today I will help you understand how the female gender role has evolved throughout the 20th century up to today. Who here has taken the time to analyze what women have overcome these past 100 years to accomplish what they have? Realistically, not many do. By conducting research and focusing on unbiased information, I have educated myself on this topic and hope to enlighten you. At the conclusion of this speech, you will understand how women were stereotyped and how influential the impact has been on generations since. Aina Fox, who is an author of the Oxford Research Encyclopedia, published this article in 2017, New Women in Early 20th Century America, stating, "The new woman could be a suffragist or a flapper, a Gibson girl or a settlement house worker, an actress or a factory laborer, and oftentimes these images and meanings overlapped, allowing women to adopt some characteristics while renouncing others. Considering this was a turn of events at the beginning of the 20th century, no one realized just how influential this change in female roles would be. Though gender roles were evolving, women were looked down upon and considered unequal to men." The contradictory views in the 1900s of women was that though they could do certain things men could, did not mean that they should do it. The stereotype of women was to stay home, conduct household duties such as cleaning, cooking, and raising the children. They were made to be dependent on the head of the household, the husband. Women were and are often overlooked due to their gender and not their experience. Greatly enough, though, between the 1910s and the 1920s, women received more legal rights, such as the right to own property, the right to gain control of their wages, make contracts, and wills. The initial change in male perspective is what aided the women's suffrage movement to be treated as equals. Francis E. Willard, a man who supported the women's rights, stated in 1895, "A wider freedom is coming to the women of America. Too long has it been held that women has no rights to enter these movements. Politics is the place for women today." For women's roles to have evolved, men representation on this movement was fundamental, considering that without their open perspective, it would have been near impossible to achieve anything at all. According to Alexandra Rutherford, in her 2017 article, Making Better Use of U.S. Women, Psychology, Sex Roles, and Women Power in Post-World War II America, she states, "The key to the working women's success, according to Mead, was a complete revision in the attitudes of both men and women towards domestic roles. The fact that only women were suffering from the problem of combining work with domestic demands was one indication of this need for an attitude shift. Though women's involvement in the community grew during this time, they were still facing hardships in career pay, stereotyping, degradation, and discrimination." Florence Kelly was an undeniable figure during the Progressive Era. She was a college-educated woman who came to lead the National Consumers League. This league was in charge and sponsored boycotting and fixed consumer shopping. During this time, women also began to conduct outside labor. This did not necessarily mean that they were farming and building, but for Native white women, they left their household chores and started working in offices. African American women worked in agriculture or as domestic servants, and immigrant women worked in factory labor. Women were also involved in technological advances, considering they were hands-on as telephone operators, secretarial assistants, and many more. By 1920, at least 25% of women were involved in such roles. Another important figure during this time is Charlotte Perkins Gilman, who in her book, Women in Economics, stated, "The spirit of personal independence in the women of today is sure proof that change has come. The radical change in the economic position of women is advancing upon us. The growing individualization of democratic life brings inevitable changes to our daughters as well as to our sons. One of its most noticeable features is the man and women, not only for their own money, but for their own work and for their sake of personal expression. This is merely an insight on women in the 20th century until now. Women have faced hardships many centuries before then. Women continuously face obstructions and interferences in everyday life in ways not many would think existed presently. As such, I transparently informed how women were treated and stereotyped for decades until society made the choice to modify their morals and evolve. It is because of these significant individuals who have been recognized and those who have not that women play the role they do today. Without the many fights they had to endure, women would not have revolutionized. Thank you.